So I gave you all papers, and we'll look at them whenever we go through this here. So, has anyone here job shadowed before or had an internship? Okay, so you've had that. That's good. How was it?
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Okay, so it was a good experience.
Mhm.
You learned some stuff.
Yeah.
So some of this, you might be able to answer some of these questions and kind of talk about it a little bit through this little workshop as well. It's probably only going to be about a half hour at the most. It shouldn't be too long or anything. Okay, so why are we here today? Well, your alumni hosts have volunteered their time out of their day to have you guys come and shadow them. So we want to make sure that you are prepared and that you know that it's a really big time commitment for them to kind of, I mean, they're still working during their day, but they might be a different kind of work. So they might be putting something on the side for you guys to come in, and it's really important to them to also make sure that you have a good experience. They have really high expectations, probably because part of it was you worked with your department on it, and there's going to be some matching going on, so they have high expectations as to what and who they're going to receive in their office. And then these connections for you could be critical to your success. As far as networking goes, adding people to your network, whether it's in person or LinkedIn, having some references and things like that will be really helpful for your future. So we're going to start off, and you can just get a pen or a pencil or something like that. And on the back of one of these pieces of paper, doesn't matter which one, you can go ahead and write down some of your goals. So what do you really hope to get out of this? I'd say write down 2 or 3 goals, things that at the end of the day you really want to make sure that you've accomplished during your internship, or not your internship, your job shadow.
Just a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
So I do LaSalle to be used down the COP Center.
Okay.
So I was wondering what time this is over. Just 'cause I have that.
About 4:30.
Okay, perfect. 4:30 is great. Thanks.
Yeah. And it's really important to have goals just because, I mean, anyone can go to a job shadow and just kind of sit there all day and literally be a shadow of somebody. But to really engage in the experience and get something out of it, it's good to it's good to know what you want to get out of it before you go. Anybody want to share a goal? Go ahead.
I don't know, this seems a bit far-fetched, but get a chance to learn how to write press releases.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so they might give you a little chance to see behind the scenes of how they write the press releases. Maybe they'll even be like, here, sit down with me and kind of co-write this. We don't really know what's going to happen, but that could definitely be a part of it. Mm-hmm.
I said had to have a more in-depth understanding what alums go through every day working in the industry.
Yeah, good. So standing here right now, I have no clue what's happening at PwC or Merck or wherever. I don't know. But I guess going to the office, I can see what it's like. So it's definitely a good time to see what happens. Do you have a goal?
It's the same as them. Just gaining a better understanding of the ins and outs of whatever field I'm shadowing and giving off a good impression as well and representing LaSalle.
Definitely good. I like that one. It's good to give off a good impression. And then also you're representing LaSalle. That's definitely true. So if they say, this LaSalle student was so great, I want more, which is going to be helpful for later students who want to also job shadow or internship or something there. Basically, you probably know what job shadowing is, but job shadowing is observing a professional in their natural environment, seeing what the company culture is like, the kind of skills that they use, and that kind of stuff, what their responsibilities are. A few benefits of a job shadow. It's an inside look at the day, the occupation, the role that person may have. And sometimes those roles differ from place to place. So if you're at one PR firm and you're at another PR firm, you might have totally different experiences that you can also share. So that's also important too. You're getting employee-only access to the office, maybe the break room, and kind of the things that they're talking about too. It's a good way to network with professionals, so probably during your time, you're not going to just network with the person that you're shadowing, but also other people in the office as well. And then this is a good time to see maybe or maybe it's not a good fit. Hopefully it is, but every now and then students will go do something and they're like, you know what, maybe it's not quite for me, and that's okay, but it's good that you know now rather than later. Awesome thing too, it's only one day, so if you're real busy, I know people in athletics are pretty busy right now, especially if they're in baseball or something, so one-day commitment's pretty good for them. So typical day, you're going to literally be a shadow probably for a lot of it. You'll sit with them, walk around with them. They'll probably show you the office. You'll probably have lunch with them. They will show you other people they work with, maybe something fun in the office and everything as well. But also, you'll probably end up having an informational interview with your host and maybe some others too. Have any of you had an informational interview with anyone? Do you know what they are? Okay. So an informational interview, and on this paper there's some questions you can ask. It's whenever you interview the employer. So you have the chance to ask some questions such as, what do you think is most important for a student right now to be involved in for your field? So starting right now, what kind of clubs or organizations should I be in? What kind of classes should I take to get where you are today? Asking them those kind of questions. What is the job outlook in this field? You probably wouldn't ask all 20, but you'd probably ask a few of these throughout the day, and maybe during a sit down for a half hour with your host to actually take down some notes and everything of what they say as well. So informational interview, it's kind of the tables are turned, it's your turn to have the interview, and they'll probably have one with you. If not, it's a good chance to ask them beforehand, and I'll show you that as well coming up. So then they know that you want to sit down with them and ask them some questions. So to prepare for the day, I have a slide on all of these, but you're going to first connect with your alum, and I'm pretty sure your alum are going to contact you first, which we'll get to. Research, professional presence, and attire, and then also make sure you know where the location is and how to get there. If you're taking SEPTA, make sure you know the route. If you're taking your car, make sure you know how much parking is. I know I went to something a few weeks ago. Parking was $20. I didn't know. Good thing I took cards, but that was something I didn't know and I should have researched beforehand. Just be aware those things happen, and it's good to be prepared. So your alum will connect with you with their phone number and their information, and probably with parking and all of that. If they don't tell you that, you should definitely ask them. And this little piece here it's that. This is a way you can introduce yourself. So this is kind of more of an email that you would send if you were the one connecting first. But since they are connecting first and you're going to be responding back to them, this might be changed up just slightly. But it's still good to say that you're excited, that maybe you want to have an informational interview or something specific. You can always mention here as well. So make sure you also use proper grammar and spelling. For the most part, the job shadow almost starts as soon as you contact them. So they'll have an impression of you just by an email. As far as research goes, have you all had job interviews before? So just like a job interview, you research the employer. It's also good to research the employer here as well. So you want to make sure you know what's happening in current events, maybe locally, globally. And then some students even like to set like a Google alert or something like that, so then at any time something comes up with SAP or Burlington or something like that, then it comes right to their phone and they know it's happening. That way whenever you get to the job shadow and maybe they're talking about something over there that just happened in the news with their company, you kind of know what they're talking about. You may or may not, it might not be appropriate to jump in, or maybe it will be, it just depends. But it's good to have that background knowledge. It's also good to know their mission statement and kind of things they stand for as well. So as far as first impressions go, they're going to first have the impression, your impression of you, or their impression of you, by your email. But then the next time is going to be your first impression when they see you physically. And we have a 30-second commercial paper and then also a show your hand shake paper. The 30-second commercial is a good way to introduce yourself. You may end up speaking with someone in the elevator and they're going to be like, okay, what are you doing here? It's good to have a response, right? So your name, your major, where you go to school. You can always say, I'm here for a job shadow and PR, and I'm really hoping to learn something, this and that about the company, and you're excited for your day. So you can add on those kind of things. This is just a brainstorm. Sometimes it's good to add to leadership positions and whatnot too, depending on who you're meeting. And this script here, you don't have to use word for word, but you can use it just, pieces and things like that as well. We're going to do a small activity. It's not going to take real long. I would just like you to shake each other's hands, introduce yourself, and say your name and your major.
Okay. Do you want to go first? Sure.
Okay, I'll start.
Hi, I'm Marissa Del Porto.
Hi, my name is
I'm
Trace Lynch,
communication
and I'm
major at LaSalle University.
Kelsey. Very nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Kirsten McDonald, and I'm comm major at LaSalle University.
Nice to meet you.
Great. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Marissa Del Porto.
Hi, I'm Kirsten
Hello.
McDonald. I'm a communication major at LaSalle University.
I'm
Kelsey, nice to meet you. I'm you.
Hi, my name is Sharice. I'm a communication major at LaSalle University.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Good. Those look good. Yours was a little long. Don't need to linger so much, but it was definitely a good handshake, great eye contact. I think you guys sounded confident. So, of course, with your 30-second commercial, you'll add a little bit more to that. That's a really great start, and sometimes the other person's going to ask you questions anyway, so it can help to have them guide the conversation. So always be positive, smile, and all of those things. So there's the yellow and the blue paper. We'll talk a little bit more about those. It's also good to take a padfolio. Anyone know what I call them padfolios. I don't know what else they're called.
Strange word to say.
I have one. I don't have it with me, but it's like, it's basically like a folder and then there's like a pad glued into it and then
Yes.
there's like a small.
It's like the leather ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can get them in the
That.
bookstore.
That's easy
Yeah.
to carry around.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
They're good to have for interviews, but also things like job shadows because your papers don't get all wrinkled up.
Right.
They look professional, so they can be anywhere from like 15 to lots of money to get real leather and things. If you have the money, it might be good to invest in one so you have that. You don't have to lug around a notebook or something. You can just have the padfolio. Something else to do is to make sure when you're talking to people, your arms are open, you are looking them in the eye, you're square, standing square with them as well. Don't chew gum. That one's pretty simple. Engage with the office environment. So if you see something going on, maybe there's a whole whiteboard of crazy ideas going on, and you can always say, okay, I see this. What is that a plan? What is that a plan for? And can you tell me more about that? Engage with what's around you. They like to answer the questions. And then also when it comes to perfume and cologne, any type of smell, don't wear too much. You want to be showered and clean, but you only want to spritz once or twice. Some people are a little sensitive to smells and it might give them a migraine or they're allergic. So do be mindful of that. Ooh, actually for the cell phone thing too. So you definitely want to have your cell phone off and away, but there's kind of a catch to that. We are going to also be doing a little contest giveaway where if you take a selfie with you and your host or you at your location and tag LaSalle Careers, which is on this paper, and you'll probably get an email about it anyway. You just tag us in your picture. You'll be entered to win a $25 gift certificate to Chipotle. So you can get a burrito.
Nice. On what social media platform do you want that on?
Instagram.
Okay.
It'll be Instagram, yeah. So that will be in an email. I believe we're going to send to you as well. You will have to ask your host for permission first to take the picture. I'm not sure the exact medium that's going to be yet, but that is going to be a little giveaway that we do too. But other than that, phone should be away. Attire. Solid colored clothes. Don't wear a lot of jewelry. Don't wear really high heels. You might be walking a lot if they're showing you the whole building. So flats are probably the way to go.
Absolutely, especially if you're commuting.
Yes, if you're walking, if you're taking the subway or the train or something, and yes, flats. You can even take sneakers with you in like a separate bag and then change in the dress shoes when you get there. They're not going to care that you do that. It's better to be comfortable and make sure you're not falling down or your feet hurt. Make sure your nails are all manicured and those things as well. They can be polished, but nothing, not a crazy color. Mine are kind of bright, but something kind of on the nude side. So here's some examples. These ones, so the top right and then this grayish, brownish one, those are a little bit more professional. The other two are more business casual, but they're still appropriate. So you want to make sure if you wear a skirt, it hits your knees. The best thing to do would probably be to wear a suit if you can, or a black pair of socks with a blouse type shirt, black cardigan over top, or something like that. You just want to be as covered as possible and as professional as possible. Yeah.
So should we go more business or more business casual?
It's better to go more business. Yeah, I just have a little, because students don't always have everything. The more professional, definitely the better, especially for your first impression. So here's something not to wear. This is considered business casual. I just think it's a bad outfit altogether, but there's a little too much leg for an interview or for a first-time job shadow. You want to have your legs covered unless you're wearing a skirt, and in that case, you're hopefully wearing hose as well. Her necklace is kind of off and has a bright bag, and the guy looks goofy. So make sure everything's put together nicely, everything fits correctly. If you wear a button-up shirt, wear a shirt underneath of it as well. So to make the most of your day, like I said earlier, treat it just like it's a job interview. Collect business cards from everybody you meet as well. You're probably going to want to connect with them on LinkedIn, especially if you've had a good conversation with them. And then sometimes you might want to email them and have an informational interview with them at a later date as well. The other three, so can you see yourself doing something like this? Were you surprised about anything you encountered? Are you prepared for the next steps? Those are things while you're there you can think about. Is it a place you really like? Do you want to be there? Do you know what the next steps are and to get an internship there, to get a job there, or somewhere similar? You also want to make sure you leave a positive impression. So it's not over when you go home at the end of the day. You still have to write a thank you note. The best thing to do first is really just to send an email that evening. Then if you want, you can always send a card. A card is nice, a nice follow-up to the email as well. People like getting real mail and then not being junk mail. So definitely send the thank you email. And we in Career Services have a little example of that. But basically in your thank you email, you're just going to say, thank you for the opportunity for me to shadow with you. I enjoyed talking to you about XYZ subjects. I'm glad I learned about this, and hopefully we can connect again in the future. And connect with them on LinkedIn as well. Something else you can do is if you're active on social media, and it's kind of a more professional branding social media that you have, especially Twitter, to tweet positive things about them. Say, oh, I had the best job shadow today at wherever you end up shadowing at. And same thing with Facebook and Instagram. I did learn at a technology conference from a guru who said, employers really do notice when students are tweeting at them and tagging them in things and using their personal brand to connect with employers. So they do notice, and it's okay to connect with them that way as long as everything's all clean on your social media. After your thank you email, you still want to keep the relationship warm. It can be awkward. Sometimes I still think, oh, I should email somebody I worked with a couple years ago just to give them a little heads up on how things are going, just to say hi, see how their semester is going. It can be awkward, and sometimes I think, do they remember me? But I was there for like 2 years, so I know they remember me. But they'll remember you even though if you're there for one day, especially if you send a thank you email and you leave a positive impression and everything. So you can also be active on LinkedIn. So if they're posting stuff, you can also engage in conversation and be a part of their network. Most jobs, about 80% or so, are actually gotten through networking. Somebody knows someone who can give you an interview for a position. So being in their network is really helpful for your future. And in career services, we can always discuss further with you about how to keep your relationship warm with them. At some point, I think you guys, after the shadow, you're going to have a survey of how your day went. Your questions are going to look similar to this. And even if they're a little off, it's good for your own personal knowledge. And this presentation will be available online, so you can have these slides and stuff. It's good for you to reflect anyway. So what did you like and not like? Some of the pros and cons of the occupation, but also of the employer as well. It's always good to reflect on what you did. So that's it. You've all been in career services, so you know where we are. 128 right here in Founders Hall on the first floor. And as far as I know, I think that's it.